Shalom, this is Leibish 100. As we prepare for the holiday of Shavuot, the receiving of the Torah, in this time of counting the Omer, it's a time for us to think about our interpersonal relationships. As we know, at Mount Sinai, the entire Jewish people were as one person with one heart. So I'm offering some stories from the sages of the Talmud, some stories that highlight the grayness, the in-between, stories that are not plasticky, one-dimensional, black and white stories of doing the right thing. Stories that highlight the depths of the human experience, and that also highlight that within our relationship with others, there's always also the y-axis of our relationship with Hashem. For our first story, I'm going to tell you the story of the Amora Rav, which is found in the Talmud on page 87 of Masechet Yuma. Rav was reading the Haftorah in Shul. Rav was of the younger generation at the time, and successively, three great sages of the older generation walked in. And for each one of them, out of deference, Rav went back and started to read the Haftorah, to read the portion of the prophets once again. When Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama walked in, the fourth one to walk in, Rav had had enough, and he didn't go back to the beginning. But Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama was hurt by this. He felt that Rav was doing the wrong thing, not showing deference to his elder. Rav, for 12 successive Yom Kippurs, every Erev Yom Kippur, the day before Yom Kippur, he went and asked for forgiveness from Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Chama, and each time Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Chama refused. The Talmud asks, why? Why did he ask? First of all, why did he ask 12 times? The Talmud teaches us that 3 times is enough. Once a person is asked 3 times, the onus is on the person who's being asked for forgiveness to give the forgiveness already. The Talmud answers that Rav was sensitive and wanted to be strict on himself. Then the Talmud asks, why didn't Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama just forgive him? And the Talmud says, fascinatingly, that Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama had had a dream in which he saw Rav hanging from a date palm, which there is a tradition that a dream of someone hanging from a date palm is a sign that that person is going to become Rosh Yeshiva, the head of the academy. And Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama was himself the head of the academy. And he was worried that if Rav is going to become Rosh Yeshiva, that might mean that Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama might die early to make room for Rav to become Rosh Yeshiva. And so Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama decided to not forgive him so that Rav would feel the need to leave the country, to leave Israel, and move to Bavel and learn Torah there. And in fact, that's what happened. Rav, after all those years and this unresolved conflict, felt the need to flee Eretz Yisrael and move to Bavel, to Babylon. There he grew in Torah and founded one of the core Talmudical academies in Bavel called Surah. And in fact, Rav's move to Bavel was a crucial part of the center of Torah learning, moving to Bavel. His great debates with Shmuel, head of a different Talmudical academy, and his students, and his influence was so great, Rav's name is found on almost every page of the Talmud. His fleeing to Bavel had a massive effect on the Talmud Bavli coming together as we have it today. Had a massive effect on generations of Torah study. Rav was a crucial character in the great center of Torah in Bavel. So what can we learn from this? On the one hand, we can learn from Rav that sometimes we're going to have unresolved conflicts in our lives. Sometimes we'll feel the need to even move away from someone that we have some painful, unresolved conflict with. And we can learn from Rav, though, that if and when that does happen, it doesn't mean that we need to run away and hide. Doesn't mean we need to lessen ourselves. We can still achieve greatness as Rav did. And we are still to this very day studying his teachings and the teachings of his students in the Talmud on almost every page. And we can learn from Rav that who was in charge of those 3 successive rabbis coming in? Did they know that other sages had walked in previously? Almost for sure they did not. They wouldn't want to trouble Rav to keep repeating. Who was watching this? Who was orchestrating that? Hashem. Who was testing Ravs? Everybody has a threshold of annoyance, even Rav, to repeat the reading of the Haftorah a 4th time, which was what opened and created this conflict. Rav needed to accept that he had that limitation and still achieve the greatness which he did. And on the other side, Rabbi Chanina bar Chama almost for sure felt bad that he wasn't forgiving Rav. He never revealed to Rav about the dream. Maybe he was embarrassed to reveal it. Maybe he felt bad that Rav was forced to flee and teach Torah in Bavel. And yet, almost surely he also prayed to Hashem, please let it be the best for him. And indeed it was. So what this is teaching us is that sometimes we have conflicts with others and they go unresolved. Sometimes we feel responsible for it, like Rabbi Chanina and Rabbi Chama. Sometimes we feel great questions. Why is this other person not forgiving me? And these reasons, they belong to Hashem. Sometimes we have conflicts with others and we can't understand what's going on in the minds and hearts of the other. And so much of that really belongs to Hashem and the limitations of the human spirit, the thresholds of annoyance, the fears of mortality itself. These are things that are beyond us and really belong to Hashem. So, just blessing all of us to move forward in life, to persevere, to do our best to resolve our conflicts, but if they don't get resolved, to not let that make us lesser, to still achieve what we can, and to believe that Hashem is orchestrating it all from on high.